of sports. This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to the Sports Page, this community sports radio program that's on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk Hattiesburg.com and SuperTalk Hope you and yours are well. My name's Mitchell Williams. Glad to be here with you at the beginning of a really hopefully great week, y'all. And we only got 2 weeks before the beginning of the football season. Of course, there was a scrimmage that was held on last Saturday, and at Southern Mississippi. It's the last scrimmage, so to speak, before the Eagles take on Mississippi State on August 30th. Coach Charles Huff, who is entering his initial year as the head football coach at Southern Mississippi, talked about that last scrimmage and gave us an update on how his team is doing as they approach the game that will be televised on ESPN nationally on August 30th. Here's Coach Charles Huff talking about his team after the scrimmage.
Thought it actually came out healthy. That's the most important thing. So that's really good. We've been able to get through camp, a very physical, taxing camp, and to be as healthy as we are, it's a good thing. This means obviously Coach Ashford's done a heck of a job this summer preparing these guys' bodies. They've done a really good job of taking to the nutrition plan and rehab and maintenance plan that comes along with going through camp. So it's been really good from that perspective. I thought today our twos and threes who we scrimmaged today, actually some guys did some really good things. I was really impressed with the flow, the organization of it, right? You think sometimes you get the younger guys in there, you have a lot of penalties or a lot of formation issues. We didn't have that. So that's a credit to the coaches of obviously getting the guys prepared for today's scrimmage so they could show what they could do. I thought some young guys made some plays. I thought, again, offensively, our tempo got better, more consistent. It was thud, so it was still difficult to see, what's going to happen after the ball gets called or, break tackles or those type of things. But overall, I was really pleased. Our kicking game was light years better from last week. It was god-awful, atrocious last week, and today it might have been perfect today. So that's really good. So obviously, guys are improving. Guys are taking the coaching. Guys are working at their craft. We got to continue. We got time still to make progress, and we got a long way to go. We'll make the turn tomorrow and start really getting into, game preparation and teaching the guys how to prepare for a game week, really helping the guys with understanding how to take care of their bodies as the season goes on, all of those things. So overall, satisfied with where we are, but we still got work to do.
Coach, to health off his question, can you speak about your philosophy with tackling?
Coach Charles Huff talking about, how things are and how things are going so far with his football team. And, I can't imagine, when you're going through all the hot what and everything else. And he talked about how the team is just healthy. Here's some more comments from Coach.
I know y'all threw quite a bit, just to keep that razor sharp, but also prevent injury.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way. I've done it both ways. We spend probably about 20 minutes a day in practice just on tackling. Not, thudding, but just tackling drills. So if you can get yourself in the right body position off of blocks, off of leverage, you should be able to perform a tackle in a game. I think sometimes when you allow guys to tackle, it turns into WWE, and they throw their bodies around and they don't really focus on the fundamentals. We spend a lot of time teaching the fundamentals of tackling. What we do see is when we do thud, we're seeing those fundamentals show up. Now, the risk you run is, Coach, we may not tackle well in the first game. That's true. I'm probably more leaning towards when you're not sure about your depth. You want to make sure you have the guys to miss tackles in the first game, if that makes sense. If this were year two and we kind of knew what we had, maybe you let some of the younger guys tackle a little bit. But overall, I think it just depends by year. You get some of these guys in, you don't know, what they do, what they can do, and all of a sudden he goes down, first 2 days of camp with an injury, you don't know what you have. So I've done it both ways. I've done it in years where we've tackled, a lot in camp. I've done it in years where we haven't. I'm not sure that there is a perfect way. I do think you have to be consistent about the techniques and fundamentals of tackling. So we'll see. So if we miss a bunch of tackles on the 30th, it probably wasn't the right way. But I think in the long run, it'll pay off.
Can you speak to the development and growth of Greg Nunnery?
Yeah, I mean, trust me, he's still a long way from home, but he has made tremendous strides. I think sometimes if you just push kids a little bit and you kind of let them know this is the way it's going to be or else, they kind of comply. It starts with building a relationship. It starts with telling the kids what you see in them. It starts with explaining to them why you're pushing them so hard, why the discipline matters, why you're asking them to give more. A lot of times kids work to just pass a class. I explained to Greg earlier in camp, we're not trying to get you to pass this class. We want you to ace the class because you can. And he has bought in completely with what we're asking him to do. He is outside of his realm of comfort, but he is embracing it. His teammates are embracing him. He still fails some days. He'll tell you, hey, I wasn't as good as today as I was yesterday. He's always had physical talent. He's had to push through, this camp, which has been really good. I couldn't be more proud of him. We told him we're not letting up on you because you have talent. But again, I think it starts build a relationship, get to know the kid, and then you know how to push the buttons. And then they receive it as coach is trying to help me, coach is not on me. And I think that's where we've gotten Greg. Coach Coughlin's done a good job with, really helping refine his technique. He's lost weight. He's changed his habits outside the building a little bit, which makes you feel a little bit better. So I commend him. I tell him every day. He comes by my office every day on the way to breakfast. I commend him every day. And I tell him, I'm going to be at practice today, Greg, so I'm going to be on you. He said, I need it, Coach. So I think he's done a great job. Obviously, he's got a long way to go to continue to build the consistency. It's like, I go on a diet and 3 days into it, I'm like, I don't know about that. But, if you stick with it, it'll pay off. And he's done that so far, so I'm really proud of him.
Do you like where that unit is at this juncture?
You know what? I think after this last week, I feel good. Now, I hate throwing that out there because we're playing an SEC team, which you guys do know that's the best conference in the world. AFC, NFC, SEC. So I don't know if we're ready to go play an SEC team yet with that group, but I feel good about where they are from a consistency standpoint compared to the level that we're going to be competing against. We've got to make sure we've got the best guys in the right seats for this first game. Once we start really diving into the opponent and what they do and where we think the guys are best, but I feel really good. I think we got 6 or 7 guys that we can go compete with right now. I think we got 6 or 7 guys that as the season goes on will be really competitive. This week is about, okay, who's the next guy if something happens? Hey, can this guy play center? If this guy goes down, is the right guard the best center or is the backup center the best center? But I feel good about what we have. We've just got to make sure we get them in the best seats. We've got a left side and a right side right now. Today we gave some guys some reps, same side, different position. So left guard, left tackle, but you're still on the left. Moving forward this week, we'll say, okay, hey, you are the next best guard. You're the next best tackle on the right side, left side. But I feel good with where we are for 14 days out.
Coach, I heard you speak earlier this week of creating depth in this camp. Can you kind of speak to some guys who maybe have provided you or taken that next step? Maybe that guy like a Heilenbeck where people didn't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah, we've probably got, to be honest, we've probably got 10 or 12 D linemen who can play. The deciding factor is going to be who can play consistently, right? Anybody can go up there and knock a guy back, but who can play within the framework of the defense? The first scrimmage we had probably 3 or 4 false start or offsides. This scrimmage we had 1. So guys that you can play, but can you be disciplined enough to do the things you're supposed to do? I think guys like Heilenbeck has done a really good job of creating some depth. I think what it's also done is it's allowed the group to understand that there's competition. So there's never a drop-off day. So even guys like Heilenbeck who have progressed, they've pushed the Gibbies and the Broderiuses, and they've made them even better. I think McKinney's done a really good job, and he's been an inside and outside guy. Jameer Lewis, who's been here before, has done a really good job. Just rolling through. Mason Clinton has done a really good job as the camp has gone on. And what we've begun to see is, at multiple positions, not just the D-line, guys had the talent, The first week of camp, you see them flashing, spiders, and everybody's running around. Nobody can block anybody because you can't really touch them. The second week, you put the pads on, but the install starts to get heavy. So they kind of slow down a little bit. Last week was the week you started to see guys kind of get back to their norm and start really impressing you, if that makes sense, with consistency. So it'll be interesting now when we shrink the game plan down. When you're installing the entire defense. And that slows the mind down, which slows the feet down. Now when we shrink the game plan and we say, hey, these are the 4 or 5 plays that we're going to run in this game, guys can get a little bit more confident. They get repetition over and over and over, which allows some of those guys who were depth guys to be even more productive. So now we have more of a rotation. I believe in rotating the D-line. You can't just play with 4. You got to have guys that can roll. That position is probably the most taxed position on the field because you're trying to push 300 pounds that way.
Coach Charles Huff, just 12 days before the opener against Mississippi State. August 30th, tickets, southernmiss.com. And individual tickets are for sale, and you better get them quick. Gonna be good. We'll talk about what's going on at Jones when the sports page continues in a moment.
This is The Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Sports Page. Hope you and yours are doing really, really well. And, of course, we heard from Coach Charles Huff, the head football coach at Southern Miss. I want to thank Pastor Marcus Cassie and youth pastor Calvin Bogan at West Point for having our football team over on Sunday. We brought in 140-something folk, and we had a great word from Pastor Kathy, who was in Matthew chapter 21, and John chapter 21, and it was just awesome. Great word, and fed our kids and our coaches, and so grateful. Thank you. And last week we're at Venture Church. I want to thank Pastor Craig for having us, and whew, man, it's been good, but we got 12 more days before kickoff. 12 more days. So hope you and yours are well. If you'd like to be a sponsor of this broadcast and other local programming here on SuperTalk, go to supertalkhattiesburg.com or supertalklaurel.com, and then you can get more information on how you can support this program. Yeah, radio's the way to go, y'all. It is the way to go. Speaking of that, with us is the sports information director at Jones College, our good friend Sean Wansley. Hello, Sean. How you doing?
Hey, Mitch. I'm doing great tonight. How are you?
Doing good. Sean, we've been working you. We'll talk about that later. But I'm so glad to have you on live, and you can give us a little update about some things happening this week, and then, of course, the beginning of school on the Jones College campus.
That's correct. Today was the first day of school at Jones, so it was very crowded, very hectic, as usual on an opening day. Also, it was the day for our football team to get their team picture and individual photos made, so it was a big day right there for Coach Latrell Pollard's team. They had a scrimmage this past Saturday morning, a good deal for the team after a really good week of practice last week, so they're only, 10 days away from kicking off against Mississippi Delta for the season opener on August the 28th up at Moorhead. So guys are getting locked in real big time here over the next week or so and get ready for that opener at Delta. I know the NJCAA preseason poll came out today, and number 1 team in the nation is Hutchinson, Kansas. The only Mississippi schools to make the rankings, Northwest is number 3, Colin is number 8, Gulf Coast is number 10, and East Mississippi, East Central, Holmes, and Itawamba received votes in the polls. So Bobcats didn't get any recognition there, and I noticed the first 2 division opponents for Jones, Gulf Coast and Colin, are ranked in the top 10, so that's quite a challenge for Coach Pollard's bunch right off the bat when they get into the schedule here next week.
Man, goodness, it's going to be no different than it is every year in community college football in Mississippi. It's a tough league. My goodness, it's a tough league. And it's going to be a lot of parity. But also, with the beginning of school and, kids finally getting into their classes and their dorms and all of these things, but there's some events coming up leading into the football season. What are some of the things coming up on campus?
Well, a couple of things. Of course, tomorrow is a night with the Bobcats at 6 o'clock. That will be in the student plaza in front of the Neal Student Center, in front of the cafeteria, as most people would recognize that. But that should be a big night. All the teams being recognized, poster schedules and photos will be available for all the teams and players, introducing everyone. The Typhoon Marching Band, our cheerleaders, Touch of Gold dance team. Always a big night to get that event going, and a concert right after it's concluded with Katie Calhoun and her band playing. So it's a big night for not only our athletes, but just our regular students and all the area fans of Jones College. It's a free event, so everyone is invited to come on out and enjoy a night with the Bobcats. And also this Friday, kind of going into recruiting, I guess you could say, for Jones College. It's our high school football jamboree.
Yeah, that's right.
That will take place at Bobcat Stadium, Sim Cooley Field, starting at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon when South Jones plays Lawrence County. Northeast Jones then plays Sumrall at 4. Laurel plays Petal at 6. West Jones versus Seminary at 8. And basically what it's going to be is a half of football for the varsity in each game, and then the JV from each school will play, I believe, 10 snaps. So that should be an interesting day, all day. High school football, the local fans of each of these schools will have a chance to come out and watch their guys play a week before they get into their regular season next week. So that should be a big deal. First time we've ever done anything like that on our campus, and looking forward to making it an annual event, that's for sure.
Y'all are listening to Sean Wansley, Sports Information Director at Jones College, and we're talking about two events. We've got a really great jamboree for high schools that are going to be held on campus, and then Meet the Bobcats is on tomorrow night. And, of course, football is not the only sport that plays during the fall. It's one of those leading programs nationally in soccer that also plays in the fall. Give us an update on what's happening with soccer as it relates to Jones College.
Yes, soccer is here. They will open regular season play this week. Our Coach Dolores Deasley's team, they're ranked number 10 in the nation in the preseason, and they will be traveling to Westville, Indiana, to play on Friday and Saturday, play a couple of games against quality competition. On Friday, Coach Dee's team plays Northeast Nebraska, who's number 16 in the nation. And on Saturday, they play the number 8 team in the nation, Schoolcraft College out of Michigan. And our men's team, Coach Brendan Connolly, done a great job with that program. They've won 5 of the past 7 conference championships. They will also be in Indiana to get their regular season going. They will play Heartland College out of Illinois on Saturday and Western Iowa Tech on Sunday in Indiana. So that's a big deal for those teams to go make a long trip. Kind of a chance for the teams to bond, that's for sure. Regular season openers for women's soccer, they host National Park College out of Arkansas on September the 6th in their first home regular season game. And our men's team will host Mississippi Gulf Coast on September the 3rd at Bobcat Soccer Field. Both those teams have played some exhibition games against a very good competition. I know our men defeated the University of West Alabama last night and also beat Southern Union Community College out of Alabama earlier in the week. And our women's team played LSU Eunice to a tie on Saturday on campus. So soccer is big. Volleyball, regular season volleyball started.
Yeah.
Yep. Coach John Dusoy had a great year last year. They have an exhibition game at Millsaps on Wednesday, and then a week from today, The Bobcats will start regular season play when they go to Wallace State, Selma, on August the 25th. And on August the 27th, a week from Wednesday, they jump right into conference play. The Bobcats will be hosting Mississippi Gulf Coast at A.B. Howard Gymnasium. I think that's a 6 o'clock start for that match. First year for Gulf Coast to have volleyball, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So volleyball and soccer getting their season started right before football, and then it's pretty much wide open here for the next several months.
Sean, I remember years ago we couldn't even imagine having both soccer and volleyball being sports on a community college campus, but much less have them competing during the time of it being the hallowed, season for football. And it's just awesome to see these, these new sports that bring in new student athletes and also to engage more kids.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Of course, the high schools got, they got soccer rolling. I guess it's been about 40 years. I think I remember 1986, I want to say, maybe, for high school soccer to really get going around here. And, of course, volleyball's been big on the high school level, so it's just natural for the community colleges to pick it up.
My goodness. So anything else you want to add, Sean, and then how can people keep up with them Bobcats?
Yeah, just go to jcbobcats.com. That is our main site for information on all of our teams. Schedules, rosters are available there. And you can search on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Jones College Athletics, and you can find out all you need to know about the Bobcats. Got to mention golf. Golf starts next Monday. Bob Harrington's team, they're back on campus, and they open right at. They go to Northwest Mississippi next Monday and Tuesday. So 4 sports going on here at the same time to start the year.
Well, Sean, thank you so much, my friend. Hopefully we get to talk to you same time, same place next week, okay? Thank you.
All right, Mitch. Thank you.
Sean Wansley, Sports Information Director at Jones College. My goodness, giving us an update as to what's happening. My goodness, wow. Man, we're going to check in with what's going on down at the river. We got an interview that was here at this radio station earlier during the week, and we want to play it for you about esports. Yes, esports. It's a big deal. Yeah, we'll talk about that and more when the sports page continues when we come back.
This is The Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
All right, welcome back to SuperTalk, Mississippi. I want to give some shout-outs to some folks, to the Mississippi Association of Resource Officers was there at their convention on the coast a couple of weeks ago, to Brother Thomas and wonderful folks at Pearl River Valley Opportunity. They had their 60-year gala on Friday night, and we were there with them, and we had an awesome time. And I want to thank also Grace Temple Church, of course. We had our FCA Pink Huddle, our 14th year, where it's a retreat for our best girls in our high schools who are athletic leaders, and we invite them to this camp hosted by Grace Temple Church, and a great team over there. We had 72 young ladies. That's our biggest group since COVID. 26 schools sent a young lady there. We had an awesome time. I want to thank all the volunteers and everybody, Topher's, Coca-Cola, just for just helping out with all of that. And of course, Christian Services with transportation, ASAP, of course, FCA, our FCA staff. I mean, it was really awesome just to kind of witness a little bit of it. And, it was really, really good, really, really good. And we're looking much forward to 2026. Y'all, there are so many different sports now, and community colleges and community college culture is looking for all kind of opportunities. And of course, at Pearl River, y'all, they've got rodeo, they've got all kind of different things, including now archery and esports. And the coach is River Roderick. He talked on SuperTalk about these sports that are coming up, and it's really, really good stuff. So, and he's been on SuperTalk before, but here's an interview that was held earlier this week about the coming of two new sports, archery and esports, and their national competition. All right, and their scholarship for players. Let's listen into this interview if we can. All right, and it's really awesome.
Wildcat Radio Show, talking all things PRCC. From academics to athletics, workforce education, and more. Exclusively on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com. Now, here's your host, Chuck Abadie.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Wildcat Radio Show on SuperTalk in Hattiesburg on this beautiful August morning. Well, the school year has officially started. Yesterday, it was Professional Development Day at PRCC. Classes begin next Monday on August 18th at all three of our campuses. It also marks the beginning of a fall sports season. Football is right around the corner. Soccer, they're already getting after it on the soccer fields. As well, we also have two new sports at PRCC this school year. Archery is one of them, and the other is esports. And here to talk a little bit about it, esports, with us this morning is River Roderick. He is what we call the esports coach. Have I got that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
All right. So, River, where did this idea come from?
So I was approached with this idea by our now Chief of Staff, Patrick Oakes. You know, he came to me and he knew that I played video games pretty competitively, and he asked me if it was something that we were open to, and or that I was open to. And of course, I hopped on that because being a kid, growing up playing video games my whole life, you know, people tell you it's not really, what are you going to do with it? And for Patrick to ask me is a great honor. But it just was an idea that we had because a lot of high schools are doing it now. I think there's over 150, 160 high schools now in the state that have esports programs, and these kids are going in and, you know, all they have is time, and especially these days, kids are on the game a whole lot. And so for them to compete in high school, you know, we wanted something to attract new students, something that would bring kids on our campus that are out of district or wouldn't usually, you know, come to Pearl River. So we thought esports might be a good way to get some of these kids, since there's so many high schools in the state doing it.
All right, so River, you have some 150 schools playing this. Is that? Am I saying that right? Playing it?
Yes, sir. And 150 high schools, or a little over 150 high schools in the state that are actually competing in this. So, you know, and it's only growing. This is something that's still pretty new. So I think in the next 1 to 5 or next 5 years, you know, that this will be pretty big, and there will be even more high schools doing it, and hopefully more community colleges, definitely in our state.
All right, so let's get right into it here. All right, now, football opens the season later this month. Esports opens the season when? And talk a little about that.
So we'll do the beginning of September is when our the NJCAE actually kicks off, and we're really excited. But the first year of the program, the way the NJCAE makes you do it is you have to start in Division III. So Division III is more of a club level. Kids are not using they're not using their athletic eligibility yet, and they can't win money. But it's still a way for us to get our foot in the door. And, I mean, they do require all teams to do it. Their first year is to start in Division III. But my kids won't have any big, tournaments yet this first semester while we're in Division III. But once we get to Division II and Division I next year, that's when there's potential national championships, and it's taken a lot more serious. And the competitive level really jumps when you get to that Division II, Division I teams.
All right, so Division III is kind of a tryout type thing. Would you call it that? Go ahead.
I think the plan is they really want to get the coaches' feet wet. They kind of just want to give the coaches one first year to kind of understand, and because it is so new, to kind of understand it and, you know, learn from that first year without there being serious consequences like there is in Tier 2 and Tier 1. In Tier 2 and Tier 1, if you no-show, if you miss a match or something like that, because all this is over the internet. So if you're not there for your slotted time that you're supposed to play and you get a no-show, like the school can be fined. Like they can fine you. So I think Division III is just kind of, they want to put teams in that their first year just so they can kind of get the flow of everything.
So is this just for the fall, or what's the schedule you looking at?
So this will be fall and spring. The way we're going to do it is we'll have 2 or 3 of our games, a couple of our titles. Like this first semester is going to be Fortnite, Madden, and 2K. So those 3 games we'll play this semester, whereas next semester we'll have our Mario Kart, our Rocket League, and maybe our Call of Duty team, maybe our Siege team. Like we have other teams other than those, but we kind of wanted to start just kind of slower. So the first semester we'll have 3 games, that'll mean we'll play 3 days a week, so y'all can tune in and watch us, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a bit. So we'll have 3 games each week in the fall semester, and then the spring semester we'll have 3 games a week, but they'll be different days. So the way they break it apart is each game title plays on a different day of the week, just to kind of break it up so we're not playing. So we don't have 5 game days a week, basically. That's kind of why we're breaking it up into the 2 different semesters. But it does go all year round. If I wanted to, or if we had the time, like our kids could play 5 days a week all year round.
And they would too.
Yeah, I'm sure they would if I let them.
I bet they would.
They're just biting at it to kind of play. They're so excited. I'm really excited to get these kids. They move in on Friday. So
all right. So River, we have a facility, right, where these kids will gather for this competition.
For sure, we have really top-of-the-line facility. I'm super blessed by, Dr. Brewerwood, Dr. Jeff Long, Patrick Oakes and our new athletic director, Michael Avalon. They've really helped and really all came together and funded us to have this really nice facility. I mean, we got in contact with Dell, which is, they make computers, and their esports division, which actually set up really big esports teams outside, like in the country and outside the country. So we got with them, and they kind of helped us navigate this and helped us build our facility and build our PC. So everything's top of the line and everything's great.
All right, so where will that be on campus?
So we will be upstairs in Crosby Hall. If you've been on campus, kind of right above the cafeteria, sort of, in that general area.
Okay, all right. So River, all right, we got a roster, okay. How many on your roster? Talk a little bit about the roster.
So I have 10 kids currently, and we are looking to fill a couple more spots. We'll hold an open tryout kind of once the school year gets started, just to kind of fill those last few spots. But right now I got kids from all over. I got kids from Madison, kids from the coast, kids from right down the road in Picayune. And, man, I have one kid, his name's Colton Kropp, and he's one of my Rocket League players. He is in the top 0.5% of people who play the game.
That's amazing.
And that's in the world. This kid has over 6,000 hours in the game, which, 6,000 hours, that's a little bit of about a year of his life has been spent in this video game. If that shows you...
That's kind of scary, isn't it, Michael?
if that shows you the dedication, so that, these kids really mean business. They're coming in. I got a kid that plays Fortnite named Ethan that he's won money. He makes money playing this game. These kids are that good. Like, I'm really excited for everybody to see the true competitive level of this esports team.
All right, so River, talk a little bit about, all right, they get scholarships, is that right?
For sure. So, we give them a $1,000 scholarship a semester. So it's looking at $2,000 a year. Hope maybe one day we'll have more. I don't know. We're super blessed to have give scholarships. Not a lot of the community colleges in the state are giving out scholarships for this. That's not one good thing. I can say a lot of good things, but a great thing about Pearl River is we've really taken this serious and really want to make these kids feel like athletes. They are athletes. I mean, this kid has 6,000 hours. I mean, a year of his life has been spent in a video game. So that tells you how much they push and how much they try. So us at Pearl River, we've really taken the athletic route, whereas other schools have kind of taken the club route where it's like an esports club. It's still a team, but it's kind of falls more under the club because nobody's getting scholarships or anything. So we're really, really fortunate to be able to give out scholarships to these kids.
All right, so classes begin next Monday on the 18th. Will you meet with your kids then? And what will you do with them between now and the first match?
So we've actually had a couple meetings. We actually had a meeting last Friday, and it was really good just to kind of get the kids in together and meet each other and kind of go over how scheduling works. Because, some of these kids have played in high school, but I also have some kids that didn't play in high school.
Right.
Or, they've played this game, but they weren't playing on the competitive level. So for them, it's something new to understand as far as match times and practice times and how all that'll work. But I'm really excited to get everybody back together this week once they all get moved in and everybody's in and comfortable, and because I really want our esports lounge to kind of be a place for them to hang out, a little safe haven, kind of like a locker room kind of thing.
Well, you mentioned something earlier. I mean, I watch our football games if I can't come.
My goodness, that's the infamous Chuck Aberdee, who went from being a legend at Hattiesburg American and then working at Pearl River Community College, and he was doing an interview with Coach Roderick. Esports. Can you imagine? You're getting a scholarship for playing a game. Wow. When we come back, we're across the T and dot the I. Don't forget, Crusader Talk is at the top of the hour. The sports page continues in just a moment.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 Super Talk, Mississippi.
Woo, welcome back to Super Talk, Mississippi. Don't forget, at the top of the hour is Crusader Talk. Caleb is already in the house. It's going to be good on 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com. Again, a couple of shout-outs to Pastor Marcus Cathy and the West Point Church family for having our Southern Miss football team on Sunday. We had a tremendous time, man. We had 140-something folk come through there, and they fed us and loved on us. I want to thank Pastor Craig Curtis at our Venture Church for having us last week. And we marched in there, and Patio 44, they fed our kids. And, man, our 2 weekends, our 2 Sundays have been awesome while all the boys have been in fall camp. I also want to thank Grace Temple Church for hosting the 14th annual Pink Huddle. We had a really great time in 26 schools, 72 young ladies from 18 counties. It was awesome. Want to thank all the wonderful officers of the Mississippi Association of Resource Officers. They had their conference on the Biloxi Gulf Coast. Of course, the resource officers, y'all, are the officers that keep our parents and our kids safe on campus. And they had that big conference. And I want to thank also Brother Thomas Morris, who is the executive director of the Pearl River Valley Opportunity, PRVO, the gala. And really had an awesome time there. And almost missed it, but we got there and had an incredible time. If you want to know more about the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, go to southeastmsfca.org, southeastmsfca.org, or Southeast MSFCA on Facebook, on Instagram, or FCA of Southeast Mississippi on Facebook. You can, and it's updated almost every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times during the day. And don't forget, here on Super Talk, y'all, the Pedal Football Review Show is on Tuesday nights, and then, of course, Inside the Locker Room with Coach Joey is on Thursday nights. And then we have high school football, which will begin next week, y'all. Pedal Football is on 97.3, and, of course, it's the Jones County Game of the Week on 99.3, y'all. So we got a whole lot of local programming, and if you want to be a part of that, please do. Want to also thank the good friends at Heritage Church down the road. We'll be down there for a men's conference on Friday. And all the men, if you're around on Friday, that Friday right before the beginning of football season, you want to come, and we'd love to see you. So that's at Heritage Church. You can go check the website, Heritage Church in Hattiesburg. And, man, we look forward to seeing all the brothers over there. All right. Just had this little something, y'all, and some of you might be like a lot of us, oftentimes have to deal with what we call difficult days. This is Romans, and it says this. Oh, it's awesome. We also have joy with our troubles, because we know that these troubles produce patience, and patience produces character, and character produces hope. It's Romans 5:3-4. My goodness. Wow. Troubles produce patience, and patience produces character, and character produces hope. Difficult days come, y'all, and they go. Stay the course. The sun is shining somewhere, and soon will shine on you. Isn't it something? Sometimes it's tough. Pain is inevitable, Max Lucado says, but misery is optional. There is a world of difference between a person who has a big problem and a person who makes a problem big. John Maxwell said that. Can I say that again? There's a world of difference between a person who has a big problem and a person who makes a problem big. And this last one, whoever or whatever sort of tribulation we suffer, we should always remember that its purpose is to make us spurn the present and reach out to the future. John Calvin said that. You know, it's difficult sometimes going through difficult days. And if you find yourself enduring difficult circumstances, remember that God remains in his own heaven. If you become discouraged with the direction of your day or your life, lift your thoughts and prayers to the Lord. He is a God of possibility and not negativity. Say that. He'll guide you through the difficulties and beyond those. Then you can just thank the giver of all things good for the blessings that are simply too numerous to come. You know, when we're at PRVO, we talked about seasons. And, you know, when you kind of go through stuff, it's always good to remember, have a season to remember that God's always been faithful. And then also in this season, remember there's a season to reconcile, that before you can go into something really ever awesome is to make peace with the things that might be difficult, some of the things that you've kind of gone through. And then it's a season to respond. As long as you got breath in your body, there is a chance in this season that it could be the best one yet. Yeah. Romans 5:3-4. Troubles produces patience. Patience produces character. And character produces hope. Well, from all of us to all of you, we hope that you have an awesome, incredible, and wonderful week. Know that Crusader Talk is at the top of the hour. We hope to talk to you same time, same place next week. Take care, everybody. Encourage someone this week. God bless.